Hey there, and welcome to episode 49 of the Unapologetic Mumpreneur podcast, where today I am chatting with the amazing Revi Price all about how to silence our inner critics and become our own cheerleader so that we can go from surviving to thriving in our mumpreneur journey. As well as being a dear friend of mine who I know in real life and a truly wonderful soul, Revi is a therapist and coach and a mortgage brokerage owner. Crowning a 30-year career as a mortgage broker, she decided to follow her passion and trained by Marissa Peer in RTT, the award-winning therapy method that combines NLP, CBT, hypnotherapy, and neuroplasticity. Revi now helps women transform their lives by transforming their minds and achieving fast and lasting results with confidence, anxiety, overcoming phobias and weight loss, and most importantly, cultivating self-esteem and self-love. Join us as we chat all about how healing our childhood traumas can help us transform our lives, how to get started on doing the inner work that allows us to become our very own cheerleader, and how installing Teflon confidence can help us create the life that we desire without worrying about what other people think. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Unapologetic Mumpreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mumpreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mumpreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. So, hey Revi, welcome to the Unapologetic Mumpreneur podcast.
Hi, good morning. Hi. Lovely. Thank you for having me here. I'm absolutely super delighted to join you and your audience. Thank you.
Super looking forward to this. And we've been in each other's worlds when we're a little while now, and with our kiddos being at the same schools and when they were at primary school for a couple of years. And we recently reconnected about 18 months ago. And I'm so glad because our vision and everything that we're doing in our businesses and what we're passionate about is so in alignment. And that's why I knew I absolutely had to have you on the show. And today we're going to be diving into a topic that is so important, all about silencing our inner critics and installing our inner cheerleaders so that we can go from surviving to thriving and create that life that we want and know that we deserve. Before we dive into all the goodness that I know that you're going to share with us this morning, do you want to just share a little bit about you, your family, who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are right now?
Yeah, so obviously I've been in financial services for most of my working life, and during that experience I've helped a lot of people with obviously getting their dream home and so on. But I always wanted to give more. I wanted to help on a deeper level. So one of my clients connected me with a local Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, and I got involved with a cancer charity, helping them with free financial advice. And that led me to really find out about how powerful our mind is in healing our body. I've seen some instant remission and I've noticed the differences, which really driven me to seek further knowledge around healing the body using the power of our mind. I then came across Marissa Peer, the amazing teacher. I'm so grateful to have met and got such wisdom and insight, and obviously the amazing method, which is RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. And really, ever since using this method, I've seen some amazing results in all areas of healing the body. Emotional healing and fertility is really something I'm passionate about. And yeah, so I'm really absolutely excited and passionate about this work. So I'm running both businesses at the moment, the financial and therapy, and I'm actually enjoying doing both really.
Awesome. That is the power of being able to have our own businesses and doing things the way we want and designing it. And if you want to have two businesses, we get to do that. So I love what you're doing, and it's such an important thing that you're doing. And I love how passionate you are about it. I think it's absolutely amazing. So let's dive in, and we're going to look at silencing our inner critic and how it shows up, and how like our childhood wounds and that can impact and influence on who we are today. So do you want to just
Absolutely,
share
yeah.
away? Yeah.
So obviously, up to the age of 7, we operate with our subconscious mind. Our rational mind has not developed yet. So up to that age, we're designed to really mimic our environment, and we accept really everything that we're told, the good and the bad, unfortunately. And we then form our beliefs about ourselves, which really affect the trajectory of the rest of our life. So I think the key element is we're born confident, full of confidence, full of self-love, and it's just somewhere along the line it just gets dented. And my work is to help women in particular heal those, identify, investigate, find those emotional wounds or the beliefs that are no longer serving them, and really reframe them and transform them into something really empowering. And the beauty of it is, once the healing is done, is really to see how every area of their life alters, whether it's meeting the man of your dreams, the business thrives, and relationships in the family. And it really has a cascading effect on everyone around them in their world. It's wonderful.
Awesome. That is just incredible. And that inner critic, that inner voice that we have, and a lot of the struggles that we have as adults have stemmed from the experiences that we've had as children, and the beliefs that we've had as children, and the things that we've been through that shape us and who we are today. And I know that silencing our inner critics, or tapping into those messages, those voices, the way we speak to ourselves, that is something that I have struggled with so much, particularly in my adult life, of that I've had to do a lot of personal growth work and a lot of personal reframing and digging into where those beliefs come from, and asking, whether they are actually true and on all of that stuff, or is it just something that we've been told to believe and conditioned to believe, but actually it's not, and it's not the case. And we get as adults to reframe that and question it and asking ourselves, and it's just amazing now some of those beliefs can actually hold us back from doing the things that we want to do. And when I started tapping into that, I really discovered that some of my imposter syndrome and my confidence to show up, my fear of being visible, whether I was good enough, who would want to hear my message, all of that stemmed back from past experiences of being like bullied at school, and the questionings from my like peers and people around me. It's just incredible that the way that can actually impact and influence our adult lives. So do you see that coming up a lot in the clients that you work with?
Absolutely, all the time. And I always say awareness is the first step that's really to healing, because once you're aware of it, you can notice it. Before that, I think people sort of really go on autopilot and don't really understand why certain behaviors or patterns are keep playing again and again. They have the same relationship with the same type of man and so on. And until you really just take a step back, and we do use hypnosis to really kind of regress back and try and understand. So we work together with the subconscious mind in partnership to try and understand together and take that journey to see where is it coming from, and then healing it. And the understanding is really where the power is. And yeah, once it's healed, as I said, the cascading effect is really affects the rest of their life, really. And I've experienced that myself with self-image, self-doubt, and whether it's insecurities that were not really mine, but I've obviously adopted. And once I heal them, then that self-love means it's not in an egotistical way. It's in a way that I love and accept myself, and therefore I can be so much better version of myself for everyone around me.
Amazing. And like you said, it has that ripple effect, doesn't it? Because other people can then see, and then it inspires them to do the same, and all that is so powerful. So when you're working with your clients, and if we're just thinking about like people like listening or watching on the YouTube channel today and are thinking like, yeah, maybe I, like the way I speak to myself and the thoughts that go on in my head, and that awareness, what are some of the signs or the steps that we can take to actually start becoming aware, and then preparing ourselves and being ready to actually do that inner work?
Yeah, so I quite like to teach people to observe their thoughts. There's something very powerful in just taking 10-20 minutes a day and just sitting and just observing quietly what thoughts come to your mind, really, because without judgment, without just observing. And what that does initially is kind of detaches you from your thoughts, and you don't identify with them. And that's really powerful process, because then you can understand there's somebody behind that. There's somebody there observing the thoughts, and therefore there's some choices. And it's all about choosing what serves you, choosing what feels good, because feels good is what I teach is the North Star. You want to feel good every day, and therefore direct your thoughts, and we direct our focus. So that's step one. The next step is to choose a couple of, we use them almost like a TV remote control as a method of just pre-program a couple of channels of really positive thoughts about yourself or somebody you love, even if it's your pet or your child, where you know that you will feel instantly good the moment. So just choose a number for that channel and literally imagine yourself press that on your remote control, and that can instantly transform you into a good feeling thought.
Excellent. That's such a great tip. And I think once, like that awareness thing, that once we start becoming aware of our thoughts and that we are separate to them and that we have that choice, it's incredibly freeing and powerful. And that was one of like my biggest epiphanies when I was actually doing this personal growth work of like, hang on, is this actually true? Where does it stem from? Do I believe in it? And actually, if I don't believe in it, then why am I allowing myself or making myself think those things, that I can reframe it and make it whatever I want? But I love that concept of the TV remote channel, because that instantly gives you that power, and you can take back your power and it helps you facilitate that choosing as well. Like you can choose what you're doing with it. That is amazing. So what is, let's talk about the importance of healthy self-talk. That, why do we say those things to ourselves or have those mindsets and constantly go into that negative mindset, when really actually it's so much better for us to be more positive, and how to have that healthy self-talk, that if we are catching ourselves and we're finding ourselves saying those mean things to ourselves, what can we do to reframe it and actually start being more, having that healthy self-talk and that positive mindset?
Yeah, so these thoughts stem from our beliefs. So our beliefs is really the underlying sort of garden that's really throws either weeds or flowers depending on what's underneath there. So there's three ways really that we can kind of change our beliefs. One is under hypnosis. We literally go directly to our subconscious mind and reframe those beliefs. The other one is by repetition. So you can literally repeat yourself again and again. One of our sort of majorly used phrase is I am enough. And if you keep saying I am enough, your mind cannot argue with that particular statement. So you can actually keep repeating every day. Write it on your mirror, write it, have on your phone screen, I am enough. And that will sink into your subconscious. That belief will be installed and literally override previous beliefs that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, or whatever it is that you may be thinking. And the third one is, it's really out of our control, but a really powerful emotional impact or event that sometimes can change our beliefs. And that's when people have sometimes sort of breakthroughs with, I don't know, somebody close that passed away, or anything that's involved. So the other two are more within our control. One is repetition, and the other one is hypnosis, which is really what we use in the rapid transformational therapy.
Incredible. That's amazing to know that we can just reframe things and choose to think a different way. It is so powerful. And even just with the work that I've done more recently of trying to overcome, because when I first started my business, I went all in, but I was worried about what other people would think. And then knowing that if I was going to grow, I was hiding behind my computer all the time, and I knew that I was hiding, but I hadn't kind of figured out why. And was it a fear of visibility, imposter syndrome? But a lot of it came back to that, am I good enough? Am I good enough? And I'd always grown up with that belief that I wasn't, and that I had to push and push and push. And and just doing that work of that repetition of saying it to yourself over and over and over again, it really does work. And it allows you to be more aware that when those thoughts come in and that questioning comes in, that you can actually say, no, I am good enough, I have got this, and give yourself a hug. And it is all about that, like healing that inner child, isn't it? That even though we're adults, we still have that inner child inside of us that is struggling.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the biggest healing work. And the next thing I've noticed about myself is my awareness around my daughter. I've got a 13-year-old daughter, which is a very fragile age, and just noticing her self-talk and me being aware of it and helping her correct that and reframe that, and installing that confidence, and that what I call Teflon confidence of no matter what anybody says, it just literally just washes off you, and you have that inner strength and that inner value and self-worth that protects you from any criticism, and external. You don't need that external validation because you give it to yourself from within.
Such a good point. And as mums, the unapologetic mompreneur, we have businesses, but we're running our businesses around our families and our children. So I'm really glad that you brought that up about installing that inner confidence and having a healthy relationship with that self-talk with our children as well, and encouraging them to think for themselves and give themselves that positive self-talk so that they can be their own cheerleaders and do the things that they want to do without worrying about what others think. And it is such a fragile age, the teenagers, with the hormones and everything else kicking in, and them trying to identify and find themselves and their own path, and who are they, what do they want to do, and all of that comes into play. And with all the added, back when we were teenagers, there was no social media, there were no mobile phones, we didn't have any of that. And there's part of me that I'm so glad that I'm not a teenager now, because I just think how I was back then, I would really struggle even more with my confidence and my self-talk and everything. What are some of the strategies that you use with your daughter to help her do that? Are they very much the same sort of strategies that you use with your clients, or do you have anything extra?
They're modified. I do a daily, what were you pleased with yourself today? So it's really doing it in a softer way, because obviously teenagers are less receptive to some of the methods that we would accept as adults. So it's really just direct, with questions. And that's just 2 or 3 questions. What was the best thing that happened today? What was the thing that you're really pleased with yourself today, or your interaction at school, or with a teacher or somewhere, or what have you achieved today that you're really pleased about? And it just builds that reinforcement from within, because they are quite, they are quite exposed to a lot of, self-image and so on. And it's really just directing them to other aspects of themselves that are a lot more stable and internal about who they are as young women or as people.
Brilliant. And they make actually really good journal prompts, don't they, that you could definitely sit there at the end of the day, as well as doing a bit of practicing gratitude, which I love doing, of 3 things that I'm grateful for today. I always say them to myself in my head before I go to sleep at night, but actually using those with your children and ourselves, using those as those journal prompts, it just builds on that inner confidence and showing us that we've got this, so that we are worthy, that we are capable of doing things. Because even no matter how we feel like we're getting good at doing something, especially in our businesses, there's so much for us to learn, so much for us to do, that we can accomplish one thing and then suddenly we've got something new to learn, and then that fear and that, am I capable, can I do this, all of that mindset comes back in again. But by reinforcing it and reframing and answering questions like, what did I do well today, what was I proud of celebrating our wins before we're moving on to something else, that really gives us an evidence toolkit of where we can show up and actually be proud of what we do. You mentioned there really briefly the Teflon confidence, and I love that. That's such a great phrase. Do you want to just share about us what Teflon confidence is and how we can bring it into our lives and how it will benefit us?
Yeah, it's really building your inner equity. It's a daily work that we do around what we love about ourselves, around our self-care, which is something that you're very passionate about with your work. And self-care is really, really important. It's really putting yourself feeling good as the top priority of every day. And it does mean that you have a lot more to give everyone around you. So it's not selfish in a negative way, it's selfish in a positive way. And that's why I like the unapologetic in your business name, because it is unapologetically putting yourself first and feeling good, and then you can give out of a full cup. And the Teflon confidence is really understanding that other people's opinions are their business and not yours. Whatever they think about you, it's their matter, it's not yours, and it's normally stems from their issues. And it's really just understanding that at a deep level just gives that other layer of Teflon confidence, because it's not about me, it's about you. Whatever you're thinking, it's coming from your belief system. And really reinstalling that inner cheerleader that says, go on, remember when you were a young child, you pushed yourself, nothing stopped you, you didn't feel the fear, you didn't feel the insecurity, you were just ready to go, and really reinstalling that and again. It's a very, very powerful process.
And that's so true. When we are children, we don't worry about too much. You're dog in the background.
I should have my dog behind me. And he might run, but it's fine. He'll settle down.
That's cool. That's what I love about doing this, of being unapologetic and everything. And like I mentioned before we jumped on, I did an interview the other day, which is coming out very soon with, and she's there with her brand newborn baby, and that's exactly what this is. They want to keep it real and unapologetic. But yeah, so. And I was saying about when we're children, you're absolutely right that we have that no fear, don't we? And we don't worry about what other people think. We go and play and use our imagination and do things the way we want to do, and we just don't worry about what other people think. But as we get older, we become more and more conditioned, and social peer pressures and wanting to fit in and wanting to be accepted and feel part of the tribe, that we change who we are, or we dumb down things about ourselves because we then worry about what people are going to say. But actually, when we tap back into that inner child of us that had no fear, that was confident, that didn't worry about what other people think, that is when things change. And that's something that, I've mentioned, I've had to do a lot of work on, and it's something that I see come up a lot in my clients, of wanting to be more visible, knowing that they need to grow their business and they have to be visible, but it's having that worrying about what other people think. And when we start doing that deeper inner work and realizing that we can't control what other people say or think about us, and it is not a reflection of us, that it is all based on their experiences, their beliefs, the things that have gone on in their lives that have shaped them. And I've learned, sometimes the hard way with some conflicts, but that some of the things that the opinions and things that they put on us, or the way that they judge us, is actually because it's triggering something in them, that they aren't doing something that they want to do, or that they aren't realizing their own dreams, or they're stuck and stagnant but don't know how to get out of it. And when we realize that, it makes it easier to not let those judgments and those opinions and all of those negative ideas from them actually bring us down. We realize, and we can look at it from a place of love, that actually there's something going on in their lives, and it really does help you just disengage from the fact that it doesn't mean anything about you and doesn't shape who you are. So it can be incredibly powerful.
That's completely true. And one of the tools I use with women is sometimes, I don't know, if the mother-in-law said something nasty to them, and just say, oh, that's interesting. It's a very good reaction, because you're not actually accepting it, and then you can actually treat it with curiosity. I wonder where this is coming from, or what made you say that. And you kind of almost give that gift, the unwanted gift, back to them, but without actually internalizing it. So
excellent. And using those words interesting and curiosity about it really helps you again to just recognize that they're not your thoughts, they're just from somebody else. And then you can ask yourself, and it's that awareness and assessing again, isn't it? So that is just amazing. So how do we kind of, once we become like realizing we're reframing our thoughts, or if I am enough, are there any other strategies that we can use that can help us to really just step into that becoming our inner cheerleader? Or are there any things that you sort of like give your clients to walk away with, of things that they can do on a day-to-day basis to really help them become that inner cheerleader?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the sort of key things that we do in our work with RTT is really upgrading our inner child. So it's really good to do self-exploration. So we do that in a session, but you can do that anytime, just sitting quietly with yourself and try and reflect back to your childhood, and maybe journal any beliefs that you may have adopted. You can kind of explore different situations and different scenarios and scenes in your childhood that may have formed these beliefs about yourself, really just questioning them. Where do they come from? A bit like you explained that you did in your inner work. And then basically explore them. So take the belief that, I don't know, you may have spoken in class and people laughed, and now you don't want to be speaking in public at all. And just try and observe that from an adult's perspective. If that happened to me now, how would I be dealing with that situation? So what happens then, you kind of diffuse that fear that has been created as a child by upgrading your inner child into your adult self. and really understanding that you've actually acquired quite a lot of tools and coping mechanisms that you're able to use now that you may have not had as a child, and you can actually literally diffuse that fear by having that exploration and just isolating each incident or each belief, and literally just looking at how would I've dealt with it now, with my as an adult self, and just bringing that young child in and just reassuring them and saying, look, this is where we're at now and we can handle that differently. And then you can sort of do very specific healing, self-healing. And I genuinely believe you have the power. Everybody has the power to heal themselves. Everything, physical, emotional. There's a lot of ability and power to heal. And it's really just a case of taking that journey and making the time. And then the rewards come. The rewards come in a way of improved relationships all around you. And the rewards come in the fact that you wake up feeling good. And it does have impact on businesses. Suddenly the business is a bit, because as your self-worth increases, suddenly the energy around your business improves, and your interaction with your clients, and it all has a very, very cascading, improving, life-altering effect.
Amazing. It is just like one big circle, isn't it? Because the more we invest in ourselves, the more we become our inner cheerleaders, the more that self-love, that self-worth develops, then the more then that we're able to pour out to everybody else, and have a closer relationship with our kids, with our spouses, our partners, and even in our businesses. And I've really noticed that with myself in the last sort of 18 months, and rebranding from a simple and contented life to being the unapologetic mompreneur, and really honing in on what my values and my message was, and reframing that self-talk and doing that inner work to then overcome some of the fears of being visible and imposter syndrome. And I still have them. They still crop up every single day.
It's daily work.
It is work. Absolutely. And I just, but I sit there and you just give that inner child a hug and tell her she's okay, that together we've got this, she's not alone. It is amazing that the difference that it makes and how it comes across. And I love doing that. And I know you see it with your clients all the time, and I see it with my clients, that you work through from where they are when you first start working with them to then how more confident and how more empowered they become, and how they then can take those steps to creating that life that they want. It's truly, truly amazing. And it's so powerful to know that we have the power, that we have that freedom, we have that choice and that ability to do that. And I think that is probably like one of the biggest takeaways I think that people could take from this episode, of just knowing that you have the power, that your thoughts aren't you, and that you have that opportunity to reframe them. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yes. And it is beyond powerful, because you start to create from a completely different energy. It's not an energy of, am I good enough? I need to prove myself. It's an energy, and I'm all powerful. I'm limitless. Therefore, what would I love to create? And that's when it's all completely sort of explodes into a wonderful reality.
Perfect. I love that. I am powerful. I am limitless. That should totally be a daily affirmation on top of I am enough. That is amazing, Ruby. Thank you so much. Is there any one last, and I've got a couple of questions. I always have that one question that I love to ask all of my podcast guests, which we'll dive into in a second. And I know you have got an amazing gift for everybody listening as well. But before we wrap up and dive into those, is there anything else, like one final message or one final thought that you'd like to share with everybody?
Yes, just make how you feel the most important thought of your day, the most important goal of your day. How you feel is the most important thing. Then everything will fall into place.
I love that. Amazing. Excellent. Okay, so my question that I love to ask everybody before we finish up each episode is, what does being an unapologetic mompreneur mean to you, and how are you showing up unapologetically every day, both as a mum and the boss of your business or businesses?
Okay, I think for me it's about authenticity, and in order to be authentic you need to have a lot of courage, and courage is a big value for me, and it is a case of being true to myself, being true to how I feel, to what I need, and communicating it effectively, whether it's with my team, whether it's with my family, whether it's with my clients, and just saying, this is how it's going to be, and this is what I need to do here. So put in that self-care, put in that communication piece, there very clearly, put boundaries. Boundaries are really important. And then I give really wholeheartedly because I know that I'm giving from a great fulfilled place.
Wonderful. That is such a perfect way to end on. I love that. That's fantastic. So, do you want to share where people can find you? And I know you've got some exciting things you're working on the moment. So do you want to share about a little bit what you're working on and just a little bit about the wonderful gift that you're going to be sharing with everybody?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm working on a couple of programs. One program is really helping women with fertility. I'm very passionate, or the two areas that I'm passionate about in my work is self-love, self-worth, and the other one is fertility. I had great success with fertility, and there's nothing that brings me greater joy than holding that young baby in my arms that I've just arrived in this world, following a journey that I took with her parents or with a mum. And a lot of fertility issues are, psychological or emotional related, and yet the treatments that are available all over the world around IVF and the physical side, which is great, but there's more to it. And I'm very passionate in bringing that awareness and bringing that really societal compassion to it's a very common problem. So yes, that's one of my passion projects. And the other one is working on the self-love, self-worth, the inner equity, the inner value. And yeah, the gift that I would love to share with your audience is a hypnotic recording. It's an RTT self-guided audio, and it is silence your inner critic and install your inner cheerleader. And it's worth $111, and it's a free gift for your audience. And thank you for listening and for having me on this program. I'm eternally grateful.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Rebbie, for sharing all of your inner wisdom and nuggets. And I know it's going to really, really help so many people listening about how to actually just give themselves a hug, know that they are enough, to help manage their inner critics so that they can then become their inner cheerleader. And the gift with the hypnosis is just, the meditation is just so, so grateful of you. So thankful and very, very generous. So definitely go and snag that. And we'll make sure that the link for that is in the show notes, and that the link for all of your socials and your website and everything is all in there. So if you want to know more about silencing your inner critic and becoming your own inner cheerleader, go and check out Rebbie, go and connect with her. I'm sure she would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being on the show, Rebbie. I truly appreciate your time and you being on here. And it's such an important conversation to have, and so much wisdom. And I just love how passionate you are about all of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, that's it for this episode, and hope you have enjoyed it. Let us know. Send me a DM over at the unapologeticmompreneur.com. Send Rebbie a DM because I'm sure she would love to hear from you as well. And I look forward to chatting with you all in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.